Everyone, I welcome you all to the new session 1 of chapter 3, Indian Constitution. Now in this session, I'll be discussing with you basically about constitution and various aspects of constitution. Now initially, I will brief you what I'll be doing in this session. Firstly, I'll explain you about what is constitution, what are the main aspects of constitution. Then I'll take you to the next topic, that will be preamble of the constitution. What is preamble? How important is preamble in understanding constitution? Then is Constituent Assembly. What is Constituent Assembly? The members who are actively involved in making constitution. So the Constituent Assembly, basically the members who made constitution. So we'll study in detail about Constituent Assembly. Then the last topic of this session will be makers of Indian Constitution. So all the leaders who played a very important role in making constitution. So the tedious task that many leaders have taken, the challenge of making constitution. So we'll discuss all about that in this session. So it's going to be very informative, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, and you can use this information in the future as well, because it is very practical and relevant chapter. So without wasting much of time, let's get started for this session. Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is the supreme law of India. The document lays down the framework demarcating fundamental political code, structure, powers and duties of government institutions, and sets out fundamental rights and duties of citizens. Now, Constitution basically is a rule book under which the government have to function. So, Constitution has laid down certain limitations in every sphere of governance, like political code, structure, powers, and duties of government institutions. So, in each of the sphere, government is supposed to function as per the codes listed in the Constitution. Apart from that, every citizen has been given certain rights and duties to follow, and the fundamental rights to enjoy. So, Constitution in a way is giving us an opportunity or an atmosphere in which we can live a peaceful and dignified life. The preamble of the Indian Constitution. Firstly, I'll make you understand what do we mean by preamble of the Constitution. Preamble serves as a brief introductory statement of the Constitution that sets out the guiding purpose, principles, and philosophy of the Indian Constitution. Now, in simple terms, to understand preamble is the introductory part. It's an introduction towards the Constitution. Now, in preamble, it also states about the guiding purpose. What is the purpose behind the formation of Constitution? And it also lays down the principles of the Constitution, like separation of powers and limited government. In limited government, you could see that the government is not given the complete authority. The authority lies in the hands of the people. So people play an important role in democratic form of government. Apart from that, if you see separation of powers, in this the entire power is divided into three branches: legislative, executive and judiciary. So no one can misuse the power, and there is control over each other. So separation of power is also done, which is laid down in preamble. And then comes the philosophy of the Indian Constitution. In philosophy, we simply understand that the dreams and aspirations of the founding fathers as well as the citizens is laid down in the Constitution. It limits the powers of government by determining the rights of the people. It also tells the nature of Indian society, and it also helps the society evolve for the better. So, preamble gives a briefing about the Constitution. So, by reading preamble, you get an idea what information can be in the Indian Constitution. So, it's like a preface of the Indian Constitution. Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly is a body composed for the purpose of drafting or adopting a constitution. So, Constituent Assembly was basically formed in order to make constitution. So, the work of making constitution was done by Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly is usually set up for its specific purpose, which it carries out in a relatively short time, after which the assembly is dissolved. So the assembly was basically formed in order to make the constitution. So it's for a specific purpose, and when the purpose gets over, the entire assembly is dissolved. The Constituent Assembly met for the first time in New Delhi on 9th December 1946 in the Constitution Hall. So, in order to start the work of Constitution, the members met in Constitution Hall on 9th December 1946. Constituent Assembly took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to complete its historic task of drafting the Constitution. So almost 3 years have been taken by the leaders in order to finish the task of making Constitution. Makers of Indian Constitution. Many leaders who have played an important role in framing the Constitution of India are as follows. The main leaders are Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Frank Antony, K. M. Munshi, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer. Female leaders who took an active part in the framing of Constitution are Sarojini Naidu and Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the President of the Constituent Assembly. The Chairman of the Drafting Committee was Dr. B. R. Ambedkar. So, Ambedkar and Rajendra Prasad played an active role in framing the Constitution. On 26th November 1949, the committee passed the Constitution. The Constitution was enforced on 26th January 1950, which we celebrate as Republic Day. Importance of Constitution in India. Constitution lays down the basic structure of the government under which its people are to be governed. So Constitution gives a proper direction, it gives a guidance to the government, it shows the basic structure of the government under which they'll have to function, so they can rule people as well as the country in a proper way through the direction shown by the Constitution. It also establishes the main organs of the government. So Constitution has established 3 main organs of the government, like legislative, executive and judiciary. Legislative will have to make the laws, executive will have to implement the laws, and judiciary will have to protect the laws. So by this, the government is given limited powers and they cannot interfere into the other organ of the government. So they'll have to function within the power given to them. It is the fundamental law within which the government must operate. So it is one kind of a limitation which is given to the government under which they have to function. If they cross the limit, then they'll have to face certain consequences. So Constitution gives a law, it gives a direction, it gives a space under which they'll have to function and operate. It guarantees some rights and provision for any individual or group of people on behalf of which they can ensure their well-being and dignity. So any citizen who is facing any sort of exploitation or is not given certain rights to function, then in such a situation he or she can complain in the judiciary and claim for their rights. So by protection of the rights of the minorities as well as the majority can ensure that every citizen can live a dignified life. So if there is no exploitation, if there is no power which is laid on them by the powerful people, then in such situation they can live a peaceful and dignified life in the country. So Constitution gives complete power to each and every citizen so that they are not exploited in any ways. So it helps us in living a healthy and peaceful life. So every country needs a constitution because it makes the life more easy and more regulated. So coming towards the end of the session, I'm sure you had great learning and you enjoyed learning something more interesting about our Indian Constitution. So, the task for home is to write down 10 interesting facts about our Indian Constitution. So, for that, you'll have to first find out 10 interesting facts, and once you do that, you can write down neatly in a book the 10 points, the 10 interesting facts about our Constitution. So, this will be very helpful for future reference as well as for your examination. And in a way, it's to discover more and more about our Constitution. So, you can find out something more interesting than what I've thought. So it's just going to add up to your information.